Always be in agreement with them. The way you get in agreement with them is you say something like, I can understand, Mrs. Jones, why you see that. Are you open to a different perspective? Do you see how we agreed? But we didn't say they were right. Welcome to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping overwhelmed outdoor living professionals, landscapers, and hardscapers just like you increase your closing rate to over 75% without doubling your workload so you can build a seven-figure business that doesn't need you. I'm your host, Joshua Gillow. Let's dig in. In landscaping, hardscaping, and outdoor living, we manage a lot of different people personalities, don't we? Customers' personalities, not just even within the husband-wife dynamic, but just in general, we manage a lot of interesting personalities. And, there's many good ways and bad ways to approach these types of personalities, specifically when it comes to any kind of connection. So one of the first things we teach in our sales classes is about rapport, right? You have to build a connection, a rapport, a bridge that takes you from a stranger into the world. And as a professional, our target, our goal is to make sure that our customers feel like they're heard, that they're understood, that fully listened to, that you actually care while you're talking to them. So here, I'm going to give you a little trick this week that's going to give you a better understanding of how to build better rapport. And it's the first step in any kind of rapport build. So rapport, just by definition, is, again, connecting with somebody up front so you can feel like that you're like equals like when it comes to connecting with people. If you're talking to your customer and you are in agreement with them in the sense of like, hey, maybe they start talking about how they just got off the golf course and you love golf. So you guys start talking about golf back and forth. That's building rapport. It's a common thread that you both like, that you're both interested in, and that starts to build a connection. Just like if you're going to start, talking to somebody and eventually they become your best friend or a date or something like that. It all comes from a commonality and understanding that the person you're talking to actually gets you. They understand. They view life through the same basic filters you do. That camaraderie, that connection is what builds a connection in friendships, and it also builds it within business settings as well. So as a business owner or even a salesperson going out and meeting with new customers, if your goal is just revenue and focusing on, hey, we just need to figure out how the least amount I got to say in order to get the most money out of their pocket, you're going to come up short each and every time. And the reason why you will is because people can feel that arterial motive, right? They can feel that. And they're like, all right, well, I can tell this guy or girl is just about the money. They really don't care about what I just said. They're not listening at all. They might be hearing what I say, but they're not listening. So today I want to teach you the first step in any kind of rapport building, which is always be in agreement. Always be in agreement. This is not the same as your customer is always right, by the way. Customers are not always right. Oftentimes they aren't even close. But it's about being always in agreement. And here's what that could look like. If a customer says something to you, like, hey, I think that the patio should go in before the pool goes in. Us as professionals would be like, yeah, it doesn't work that way. The patio goes around the pool. We can't do it without having the pool in place first, or we're going to be tearing a bunch of pavers out. Our minds go there because, well, we've been doing this a long time and we know how to do it. But again, remember, customers only do this type of outdoor living space once or twice in a lifetime. They are not able to understand the order in which things go together. So when it comes down to that, and you're starting to get into a situation, this is a little bit of a sidetrack from rapport, but this is going to be an important lesson. When it comes down to that, you have two choices. You either tell the client, you know what, no, you're wrong, and this is how it has to be, and start setting the stage for a negative operating environment for you guys to be in because you're setting them straight, which I know how much that feels good at times because, sometimes clients like to push us around. And so it gives you a good guardrail or a good barrier so they don't get to go through it. But here's a better way to handle that. That's going to help both you and them. If a customer comes up and starts kind of getting in your face, or you're trying to build rapport in the beginning and they're adversarial, they want to, say that you don't know what you're doing, or that's what their context of what they're basically telling you. This is the trick. This is the tool. Always be in agreement with them. And the way you get in agreement with them is you say something like, I can understand, Mrs. Jones, why you see that. Are you open to a different perspective? Do you see how we agreed? But we didn't say they were right. I can understand why you would think that. I can understand why that makes sense to you. I can understand why that possibly could work, but are you open to another option? Do you see how we can meet her or him where they are and then be able to turn it toward what we know? Instead of saying, no, you're wrong, Mrs. Jones, you can't put those papers in first. The pool must go in first. Can you see that by setting it up that way and always being in agreement will definitely get you a better result at the end? Because ultimately what we're trying to do here is we're trying to keep this relationship as positive as possible so we can move through this, do a great job, get a great referral from a customer. All of those things don't happen when a customer feels alienated or wronged in the environment or situation that you're working in with them. We have to be very selective and aware of how we're showing up and what we're saying. Staying on our surfboard, as we like to call it, which means that you're staying emotionally balanced and you're not falling off because somebody pissed you off or you had a rough day and the customer just pissed you off. So you took it out on them because they deserved it. They've been assholes to work with this whole time. That might be true. That might all be true. You might be fully justified in all of those things. But the problem is at the end of the day, it doesn't lead to more projects and more sales. The way you do that is by being in agreement with them up front. And again, this is your way of agreeing with them without saying they're right. I can understand why you think that, Mrs. Jones. And I would understand why you wanted that patio in first. But are you open to another way to think about that? And 99% of the time, the clients can be like, well, okay, yeah, I am open to something else. And then you have your opportunity to say, no, that pool has to go in first, and here's why. And then you can go through all the details. So much of this is tonality, curiosity. I can understand why you're thinking that, Mrs. Jones, but are you open to a different opinion? Are you open to a different perspective? You see how it's an upward inflection and it's curious? It's not, you know what, Mrs. Jones? Yeah, I can see why you're thinking that, but, are you open to a different perspective? Do you see the difference in tonality? We have to be so aware as sales professionals, so aware of how we're coming across. We have to know that even after a really hard week or a hard day or even a hard minute out there running a business, we need to stay on our surfboard. We need to make sure that we are showing up in a way of curiosity, not in a way of statements and harsh tonalities. That same exact phrase can be delivered two different ways and get completely different results. One puts up a barrier when the tonality is harsh and aggressive, and the other one opens up a door. Our goal as professionals is to keep opening doors to options. And when customers can feel that you're curious, not inauthentically, but when you're curious and you ask a question like that, the next thing you know, magic happens. They're like, okay, I'm up to your perspective. Their mind opens. Oh, I can see that. I can see why the pool has to go in before that patio now. Okay, yeah, I get that. I didn't know that. I've never done a pool before. And it actually helps you save clients' face, right? It helps you save them from their own unawareness of how these projects are built. So often, outdoor living companies, landscapers and hardscapers, even business owners in general, they're so close to their product or service that it's like they're inside the bottle trying to read the label. You ever feel like that? Like you're inside that bottle looking out and you can barely see the label because you're so close to it. Well, your customers are actually seeing it from the outside. They're seeing it and they can read the label. So we're coming from two different perspectives. So we have to be very, very aware of all of this. This all boils down to awareness, listeners. The more aware you become, the more effective you can be in sales and communication. So much of it is your own awareness, not just the awareness of your customers and what they do and don't do, but more about exactly how you show up and exactly how aware you are of exact word phrasing, of their physiology, of how their bodies are moving and their body language, the tonality they're using. All of those things all come into context when it comes time to make a decision on what the next best path is going to be to take your customer on. So everyone, to wrap up today, remember, always be in agreement with your customers. Start off with something like, oh, I can understand why you think it's that way, or I can understand why you see it that way, Mrs. Jones. Are you open to a different perspective? Upward tonality, light, curious. You're going to find that's going to open up doors like you've never saw before. So guys, if you need help with your sales system, to set up a sales system that'll be bulletproof to get you through just about any economic situation and be able to serve clients at a higher level with this kind of curiosity built into every step, so you can serve your clients at a higher level, which then builds a stronger relationship and higher ticket and more referrals, book a call below. You'll see it in the show notes. All right, guys, till next time, stay dangerous.